So it all began on May 12th, 2017, a seemingly ordinary day until computers around the globe suddenly started locking up, and a chilling message appeared on screens, a ransom demand to be paid in Bitcoin. WannaCry was not just another piece of malware. It was chaos spreading like wildfire and paralyzing over 300,000 computers across more than 150 countries in just a matter of days.
It's absolutely terrifying when you think about it. I mean, hospitals, businesses, even government agencies were all thrown into complete disarray. And then there's the ransom itself. We're talking hundreds of dollars per victim, right?
Exactly. Victims were asked to pay between $300 to $600. In Bitcoin, no less. But let's take a step back for a moment. How on earth did something like this spread so quickly? Well, the WannaCry ransomware wasn't just your average piece of code. It piggybacked off something called EternalBlue, an exploit that targeted a vulnerability in Microsoft's operating systems.
Okay, EternalBlue. That sounds like something out of a spy movie. What exactly is it?
It might as well be. EternalBlue was first developed by none other than the United States' National Security Agency, the NSA. Basically, it was a backdoor tool designed to exploit a flaw in Microsoft's SMB protocol to gain access to systems. The NSA had been sitting on this discovery instead of notifying Microsoft, as they were likely using it for surveillance tasks.
Hold on. They knew about the flaw and just kept it quiet? That's, frustrating, to put it mildly.
It gets worse. In April 2017, only a month before WannaCry hit, a hacking group called the Shadow Brokers leaked EternalBlue onto the internet. Once that happened, it was effectively a free-for-all, and ransomware developers didn't waste any time deploying it. Microsoft had issued patches 2 months earlier, but not everyone updated their systems. This gave WannaCry an open road to rampage.
Right, because of course no one updates when they're supposed to. I mean, isn't it always, we'll do it later, or it's too much hassle, and then, bam, stuff like this happens.
Spot on. Many organizations still used older systems or couldn't risk downtime for updates. And WannaCry exploited this hesitancy mercilessly. The spread was so rapid, it overwhelmed hospitals, blood banks, manufacturing plants, you name it.
But then came Marcus Hutchins, right? The guy who basically stopped it in its tracks.
Correct. He's an independent security researcher, and frankly, a hero in all of this. While analysing the code, Marcus stumbled upon what's known as a kill switch. WannaCry was designed to ping a specific web domain, and if it connected successfully, it would stop encrypting files. All Marcus had to do was register the domain, effectively flipping the off switch for the ransomware.
Wait! Are you telling me the ransomware creators built their own stop button right into the code? Why?
Well, it's believed to be a safeguard, a way for the developers to shut it down if things spiraled out of control, or maybe even to avoid law enforcement tracking them. But yes, their stop button backfired spectacularly. Marcus's discovery didn't fix infected machines, but it halted the spread, essentially defusing the crisis.
That's incredible. A random domain registration out of all things. Who would have thought? Honestly, though, the damage was already insane by that point, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Some experts estimate the economic fallout to be as high as $4 billion. And remember, this was avoidable if best practices for security and updates had been followed.
It's maddening, isn't it? But you know what's even scarier? The people behind this.
Right, let's talk about the people behind this chaos. Many believe the masterminds were the Lazarus Group, a hacking organisation linked to North Korea. Their track record in major cyber attacks and the way WannaCry unfolded seemed to match their signature style.
The Lazarus Group? That sounds like the name of a supervillain team. Who are they exactly?
Well, they are believed to be state-sponsored hackers working directly for North Korea's government. The group became infamous after being tied to attacks like the Sony Pictures hack in 2000, and even a massive heist on a Bangladeshi bank just a year or two before WannaCry. Cybersecurity firms, along with formal accusations from both the US and UK governments, attributed WannaCry to them by December 2017.
Wait, state-sponsored? So you're saying it wasn't just some cyber criminals looking for quick cash? this was part of something bigger?
Exactly. It aligns with North Korea's broader strategy of using cyber warfare to generate revenue or disrupt infrastructure. The Lazarus group has been quite prolific, and WannaCry's scale, spanning over 150 countries, was unprecedented. Linguistic analysis of the ransom notes and even metadata in the attack's code added more weight to claims pointing at North Korea.
And what about the victims? I mean, the attack must have deliberately targeted weak points.
Indeed. A major target was the National Health Service in the UK, where over 70,000 devices, including computers, MRI scanners, and even blood storage refrigerators, were affected. Their use of outdated systems left them wide open to the attack.
Outdated systems, right? Like Windows XP or something. I thought it was rare for organisations to be so, behind.
You'd think. But critical infrastructure often lags on updates due to the risks of disruptions or compatibility issues. WannaCry exploited this hesitancy, exposing just how vulnerable these systems were, even in essential services like hospitals. It was a wake-up call for everyone.
I mean, when lives are on the line, you'd expect better planning, wouldn't you? Still, what about the bigger picture? How did this ripple out on a global scale?
Well, it underscored how state-sponsored cyber attacks complicate international politics. Accusations against North Korea became a geopolitical flashpoint, and it deepened the debates about how to handle vulnerabilities like EternalBlue in the future. Should intelligence agencies disclose such exploits, or is withholding them justified for national security purposes? It's a grey area with enormous consequences.
And, those tensions aren't exactly going to ease up anytime soon, are they?
Unlikely. WannaCry didn't just show the scale of damage these attacks can do, it set the stage for nations to rethink their security policies, for better or worse. It's a stark reminder of how interconnected and vulnerable we really are.
Beyond the chaos WannaCry caused, it left us with some pretty sobering lessons. One of the biggest takeaways? Just how disastrous it can be when critical systems go unpatched. A staggering number of organisations were caught off guard simply because they hadn't applied updates in time. Microsoft had to scramble, even issuing emergency patches for systems as outdated as Windows XP, something almost unheard of.
Yeah, but let's be honest here. Most people see those update notifications and think, hey, later, and then they forget. It's such a basic step, but it really can make all the difference, can't it?
Exactly. Keeping your systems updated isn't glamorous, and yes, it can be inconvenient, but it's absolutely essential. WannaCry was proof that neglecting this can lead to disastrous outcomes, and it wasn't just individuals or small businesses. It was big organisations, even governments, that were caught out.
And speaking of governments, the whole thing also opened this massive ethical question about stockpiling vulnerabilities, right? Like, should intelligence agencies be holding on to these exploits at all?
Precisely. The fact that EternalBlue, the exploit used by WannaCry, originated from the NSA sparked a lot of debate about whether withholding vulnerabilities for surveillance purposes is worth the risk. After all, when these tools leak into the wrong hands, the fallout can be immense, as WannaCry demonstrated.
It's kind of ironic, though, isn't it? Something designed for national security ends up being one of the biggest threats when it's let loose. I mean, that's a conversation we're definitely not done having.
No, we're not. If anything, WannaCry highlighted the need for governments, organisations and individuals to work together to strengthen cybersecurity. Progress has been made since then. Better update practices, increased awareness about ransomware, and even tools like decryption software allowing recovery without paying ransoms.
And I guess the silver lining, if you can call it that, is how much it woke everyone up. But honestly, do you think we've really learnt enough to prevent the next big attack?
Well, the truth is, cybersecurity is a constantly evolving battlefield. WannaCry was a pivotal moment, a wake-up call, but vigilance is key. Keeping systems updated, investing in robust defences, and sharing knowledge are all steps in the right direction. It's not a question of if another attack like WannaCry might happen. It's when. But we can be better prepared.
And that's what it all comes down to, doesn't it? Preparation. Being proactive instead of reactive. Well, that's all for today. What an eye-opening journey. It's been great talking.
Likewise. And to everyone listening, stay safe out there, both online and offline. Until next time, take care.